Hey, welcome to the first ever Declassified Live. Declassified Live. I've been looking so forward to doing this with you guys. Now, you saw we had a couple of difficulties. I was checking my phone, making sure we were live, but a lot to talk about today. We want your comments, we want your ideas, we want your questions. I'm going to keep checking my phone just to make sure with our producers that there are no glitches. Mr. Galaxy Man is still here. We love it. So something interesting happened last night that I wanted to start the show by talking about. So there's this socialist candidate, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Hey, Marcin Woltowitz. I think I said that right. Hello from Poland. And this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won her primary in New York's 14th congressional district. Now, a story came out in the Daily Mail and some other outlets that she didn't infect. She calls herself this girl from the Bronx. Well, she's not, in fact, this girl from the Bronx. Turned out she grew up in Yorktown Heights in Westchester County. Very nice county, one of the wealthiest counties in the U.S. Now, they had put up a picture of her childhood home in various media outlets. It was all over the web. I took the photo, put out a tweet. Well, this is where she, where she grew up. She didn't grow up in the Bronx. And she went to Brown University. I was mistaken about that. The Daily Mail piece initially said she went to Brown. Turns out she went to Boston University. Oh my God, you would have thought I kicked a puppy on a live stream. That's all the left focus on. That one little error. By the way, I corrected it in a tweet about, she tweeted back at me and all the bots went crazy and all the far left radical blue checks went crazy. And they started, telling me how horrible I was, how amazing socialism is. Let me just say this. I expect a 28-year-old socialist bartender to fail in Congress about as badly as a 46-year-old socialist community organizer failed in the White House. So I've got people from Poland. I know, Joseph, we will not stop supporting Israel. Israel's a great ally. Sorry, man. I wish I could help you out there, but nope. It's just not going to happen. So, we've got that going on. We've got a lot happening over in the House of Representatives, the Judiciary Committee, the Intel Committee, really, really upset. I mean, really upset in many ways with FBI Director Christopher Wray and, of course, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. So, here's the problem, right? You've got guys like Rosenstein. You've got guys like, and I'm going to move my browser around here so I can chat with you guys while still reading the topics. Oh, the day. Isn't that exciting? And so we've got those problems there. And now we have a leftist president, a leftist landslide win in Mexico. And you have to believe that's got a lot to do with the rise of right-wing populism here in the United States. Hey, good evening from Australia. Thank you for watching. So also, guys, we're trying this format. The reason I'm doing the show early, 7:30 a.m., is that the 7:30 a.m. is because it's morning drive here on the East Coast of the United States. We're going to see how this works. If you're already at work or if you're on YouTube in the car, you're in a carpool, whatever it may be, we want to see how this format works. Even if you can engage, you engage at a red light. Want to see how this works. If this time doesn't work for people, we're going to move back over and try something in the afternoon. But I'm really hoping the morning works. I think this is a really cool way to start the day. Trump is a legend, Marcin says. I couldn't agree more. And I think this is a really good way to start the day because I typically, on my other show, Off the Cuff Declassified, which I'm no longer doing, I'm going to do the live show instead. I was doing really deep analysis for you, but I was doing the analysis late. I was analyzing a story that had broken the night before earlier that morning. By the time we were able to get the entire show recorded, get the content edited and get it out to you, it was already hours and hours and hours late. And so greetings from Finland. Thank you for watching from Finland. South Wales. You guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely awesome. International audience. I love it. I love it. And I'm flattered. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I want to try to stick with the morning format. But again, it's all going to be dictated on what you want to see, what you want to hear. The entire thing is, quite honestly, going to be driven by you, the audience, because you're why I do this, right? You're who matters. So anyway, we got this leftist landslide in Mexico. We've got this terrible situation going on here in the United States with regards to our DOJ, right? We've got Christopher Wray, we've got Rosenstein. They're fighting with our Congress people like Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz, and I'm bouncing around here trying to see what topics you want to talk about or topics you might want to talk. You go down. Let's see. Australia. Don't forget Australia. I said Australia twice, Eli. Australia was the first to log on internationally. I've got a lot from Australia right now. UK to support the rebel team. You guys are awesome. And BVYUP says, Trump is loved by most people who hate their government. You know, Ronald Reagan had a famous quote. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And he was right. Government doesn't do anything efficiently. That's actually a great way, a segue back to where I started the show, which was we were talking about this socialist who won in New York's 14th congressional district, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Well, I'm shocked by the amount of support a socialist gets here in the United States. I expect it because that New York City district is it's far left. It's like Nancy Pelosi's district. I grew up in Queens. This district in which this girl won covers the northern part of Queens, the east part of the Bronx. Very different area than it used to be. It's predominantly English as a second language. Last I checked, up to 90% of the district, English as a second language. It is 9:42 p.m. in Brisbane, Australia. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for sticking in and watching. It's I don't understand how anybody could support socialism. I understand why she won her Democratic primary because of the makeup of that district. But there are a lot of heady intellectual arguments against socialism. There are some outstanding arguments in favor of the free market, in favor of capitalism. I live by them. But to me, it's much simpler. Have you ever walked into a Department of Motor Vehicles? Have you ever seen the dysfunction behind the counter? That's government. And I don't understand how anybody who has ever walked into a Department of Motor Vehicle can say that they want the people responsible for that, the people responsible for Baltimore, Detroit, and Chicago, who run the country. I don't understand this. Vicky says, hello from Northwestern Ontario. Let's talk about Tommy Robinson. Not a lot of new news. I believe, and I've believed from day one, that Tommy Robinson is a political prisoner. He's being politically persecuted for daring to out Muslim rape gangs, and he should be freed. And we don't want to, we could spend every show talking about that, but my feelings are going to be the same. He should be freed. What the government of the UK is doing is disgraceful. They're putting political correctness before public safety. It's a terrible, terrible thing, and Tommy should be set free. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the judge should be ashamed of himself. John Zealand says, good morning, John. Good morning to you. Let's see what we got here. I live in a 95% white city in Canada. We're over 80% white. Just don't go to Toronto. Well, I think it's not about white or black. And I don't look at white or black or Hispanic. It's not about race. It's about productivity, about people that want to contribute to society. I have neighbors of all races. I live in a nice neighborhood. They're all successful people. They enjoy their lives. They're good, hardworking Americans with great families. I don't care what somebody's race is. I care about somebody being productive, being a provider, a contributor, or a leech, a taker. That's how I look at society. Race couldn't be further from my. Frank Odom says he's going to the DMV in Maryland today. God help me, Frank. Have my sympathy. No, I will never. Argyle says, thanks not for saying Asian grooming gangs. No, these are Muslim pedophile rape gangs. Let's call this what it is. I worked child sex crime cases when I was in law enforcement, and I will never sanitize that narrative. You have nothing to worry about. What disgusts me is when they slander Tommy as a race. Yeah, it's terrible. Evil bastards. It's absolutely terrible. But we all know it's not about race. That Tommy Robinson isn't being persecuted for any other reason than he dared defy the politically correct narrative in the UK, which is Muslim migrants who rape kids and women don't exist. That doesn't exist. The Muslims in the UK are all these wonderful, productive members of society. How dare you ever say they're doing the terrible things that they are in fact doing? Let's see. Tommy Robinson scares the establishment because of his ability to unite groups. I tend to agree. Look, I think everybody who challenges the political correct status quo scares them. If you go to my Twitter feed, at John Cardillo, you'll see what I'm talking about. I simply made one little mistake last night that I immediately corrected. I said that this socialist candidate, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, went to Brown University instead of Boston University because the Daily Mail story indicated Brown. She corrected me. I said, oops, I stand corrected. Boston University, which is a really good school, $50,000, $60,000 a year school. There, I literally just checked. I had 2.6 million mentions on Twitter. The overwhelming majority of them attacks from the far left for getting that one little detail wrong. These people are unhinged. But it has nothing to do with me getting Brown University and Boston University erroneously mixed up. No, this has to do with I attacked a far left sacred cow, a 28-year-old socialist Latina. I debunked her false campaign narrative that she grew up in the Bronx when she in fact grew up in a very nice suburb, Yorktown Heights, that she went to an expensive university in Boston, and that she is not your typical kid from the hood. That's why I'm being attacked. The Hill even wrote a piece. The Hill wrote a hit piece on me last night saying she shredded me. One little mistake. And it's very ironic that the fake news mainstream media is shredding me for one little mistake that I immediately corrected. I love it. Well, they gave me 3 million Twitter impressions. So God bless them. Even when they think I lose, I win. Not too worried about what the unhinged left thinks. I don't know what this means. Dolly Daydream. If we want to understand everything, go watch Joe Massapo's channel. Cue the plan to save the planet. Means, but we'll have to check it out. I want to save the planet. We all do. Let's see. Your Canadian Forces bases are also FEMA camps. Canada, they are ready for you. Well, Canada doesn't have a FEMA. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't dive into those conspiracy theories. Sorry. Let's see what else you guys got for me. Throw me something. Ben Shapiro supports no civil liberties. I wouldn't go that. Look, I know Ben has done his Never Trump thing, and he can be a bit frustrating at times. But I will say this about Ben Shapiro. The guy's always been nice to me. I know Ben through the industry. I don't know well, but we have mutual friends. I know him through the industry. He's always very cordial when I run into him at events. So, but I think he's fundamentally wrong on Trump. I think all the Never Trumpers are fundamentally wrong on Trump. Kurt Schlichter wrote a great piece, our own Kurt Schlichter. It's up on townhall.com about Never Trumpers. And there's also an outstanding piece in the American Spectator. In fact, if you go to my Twitter at John Cardillo, I put both of those pieces up this morning, and both of them thoroughly and very successfully explain why the Never Trump movement is failed, irrelevant, and really needs to just go away. Unhinged weirdos like Bill Kristol just need to go away. I did not hear what anybody said on Bill Maher. I'm guessing you think that, I'm guessing you're referring to Ben Shapiro. I didn't hear it. I don't watch Bill Maher. Not my thing. I have no confidence in appealing on issues, so I attacked her background. No, I didn't attack her background. Did not attack her background. Well, she won by so many votes. We're talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I don't play a music. Is a supporter of hers. I'll engage you. Number one, I didn't attack her background. I clarified her background. Claims to have grown up in the Bronx. He didn't. He grew up in Yorktown Heights in Westchester County, a very wealthy county. He makes it seem as if she's this underprivileged girl. She went to a university that's $50,000 to $60,000 yearly. That's not attacking her background. That's being in media and pointing out the truth. She won because her district obviously wants a socialist like her. She's an anomaly in the rest of the country. And I think it's very, very bad for America. I think her policies are being soundly debunked. That's why there's going to be a red wave, not a blue wave in November. And quite frankly, vote for who you want. You want to vote for a socialist that has no chance of doing anything in Congress and never getting on a committee and never getting a bill passed. Be my guest. Throw your vote away. In fact, I want you to. I want the Democrats to show America that they really are radical socialists who hate this. I would love nothing more than for the Democrats to prove that narrative to the rest of America. Shapiro said on Mayor that he supports impeachment if Mueller finds anything. Well, that's what Ben and I disagree, because I think Mueller's investigation is a witch hunt and a sham. The most tainted, unimpartial, improper investigation I've seen in 25 years. I know my boyish good looks betray that, but 25 years in working alongside or analyzing law enforcement. And yep, Dolly Daydream, red wave coming from America, dark to light. I agree. I think it is a red wave. The president's winning. I don't see how Democrats in any way, shape, or form can ever, I don't think how Democrats will ever pick up anything with this platform. I mean, when the cornerstone of your platform is Maxine Waters saying attack Trump supporters, and you've got people like Peter Fonda calling for Trump's kid, Barron, to be put in a cage with a pedophile, and the children of ICE agents to be terrified at school and terrorized at school, I think the left is really in its death throes, quite frankly. And I don't understand why anybody would listen to them. I mean, remember, if you want to make a small donation, there's a button up there. If you want to make a small donation, your question bounces up to the top, and you get preferential treatment and a special mention. And hell, if we're in the same town together, I'll buy you. Let's see. Do Trudeau's eyebrows get their own vote? Do you know? I think Trudeau's eyebrows should get their own postal code. Those were glorious. They're absolutely glorious. I don't like anything about Trudeau but his eyebrows. What is wrong with an unapologetic support of finding the truth? Nothing, exactly. That's what I did. I hope you're talking about my trying to expose where socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Look, I will never grew up. I will never support socialism in this nation. I will never support socialism in this nation. Never, 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 never. Never, 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 never. And I'm not being rude, checking my phone. I just want to make sure my producers, nope, everything looks good. I want to make sure they're telling me we don't have any glitches. I want to bring you guys. Oh, a seamless show. We want to look amazing for you. Ben Shapiro said whatever the truth is, he would accept it. The problem with that, that's from Evil Bastard, is I don't believe Mueller is about the truth. I believe Mueller is about scripting a narrative. It is not the job of a prosecutor to generate an opinion paper, a report. That's not Mueller's job. His job is to prosecute. Like Trey Gowdy said, if you've got something, present it to a grand jury. If you've got an indictment, prosecute. But Mueller's job is to not opine as to what he think might have happened. It's to prosecute or not prosecute. And I don't believe Mueller has any intention of being impartial. I think Mueller, this is a political witch hunt from start to finish. I believe President Trump was 100% right when he said that. All right, Levis said, freedom for humanity. We're talking about socialism. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Give me some more good topics. Rosenstein going down IG report. I hope so. I hope so, Dolly. I don't know if that's Mr. Galaxy Man 57. Too bad about you Canadian people. Dumb, useless, not needed on the world. Now, A, I'm not Canadian. B, Canada's a beautiful country. And the people in Canada are awesome. They've got a moron running the country right now. But some of my favorite cities are Vancouver, Toronto, and Calgary. Beautiful cities. Some of the nicest people I've ever met. And living here in South Florida, a lot of Canadians come here on vacation. I've got a lot of Canadian friends. A couple of neighbors on the block where I live, not far from the studio, are Canadian. They're here 6-7 months a year in South Florida. Great people. Great people. My old neighbors in Miami, Canadian. They split the time between Vancouver and Miami. Still very, very close friends. They moved out 5 years ago. So I got to disagree with you there. You know, look, Ben Shapiro has been a never-Trumper from day one. I disagree with Ben. There's a lot on Ben Shapiro here. I disagree with Ben. Well, he's an American. He's entitled to his opinion. I think he's wrong. I think his narrative is falling flat. But he does have influence with millennials, college-age students. And with them, he's overwhelmingly conservative on the issues of the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. So I think he does a lot of good. Where we part ways is on his disdain of Trump. But beyond that, I got to give credit where it's due. Ben and I can disagree vehemently on what he does Trump. But I think he's also done a lot of good with regards to promoting the First Amendment, especially on college campuses. And so I don't have to agree with you on any issue. But love Ben Shapiro, hate Ben Shapiro. The guy's been out there. He's been a warrior. Been on the front lines. Let's see. Evil Bastard. I believe that too. But the bottom line is Mueller will either present real evidence or he will not. My guess is that he won't. And lambast him for that when it's over. Problem is, he still has subpoena power and grand jury power. And that's the problem. And when a prosecutor, you got to do more than lambast the prosecutor that presents bad evidence. You got to do a lot more. A lot more. It doesn't, they're breaking the law. They're playing with authority. They're, in their own way, obstructing justice. I think I think it's got to be much more than lambasting him. I think penalties need to be a little more severe than that. Faith and hope. Islam has infiltrated every country's government and now threatening to unleash jihad. If they don't go along with the opening of borders and letting the silent invasion continue, well, that's why we're trying to close the U.S. That's why President Trump won. and down. Why are people so obsessed with Marx when his ideas, so many death? BVYUP. I hope I'm saying that. Mega Dutcher, sup with you? I don't know. I don't know why people subscribe to Marxism and socialism. I think they think it's cool. They're the same morons who wear Che Guevara t-shirts, forgetting that he was a communist, murdering rapist. I don't know. I don't know. And Mueller has a problem because Uranium One. I think Mueller has a problem long before that. Mueller has a history. He and Andrew Weissman is number 2 of being admonished by judges, playing fast and loose with exculpatory evidence, getting a little cozy with mobsters where they're running as confidential informants. And somebody goes, LOL, this guy is not Canadian. No, I'm not. There it is, though. You seem like a smart enough guy. Didn't the American flag behind me give it away? There, tough guy. Would have thought that. Vatican at the top of the most of it. Pope nearly got arrested, but I don't think the Pope nearly got arrested. What I would suggest you do is not read conspiracy theory website. The Pope is a foreign head of state. In addition to being, I'm not a fan of this Pope. I think he's a far left socialist. That being said, in addition to being the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church and the leader of world's Catholics, Vatican City is a sovereign nation state. So the Pope is also a sovereign head of state. No, the Pope wasn't almost arrested. I blame Rage Against the Machine. You mean the band from the 90s? Okay. Happy Independence Day to Canada. You just reminded me of that. Thank you for reminding me. Happy Independence Day, Canada. Ours is coming up, of course, days. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Going after Western Christian countries' values, and that you can't arrest the Pope for that. It's not a crime. So, yeah, I don't like this Pope. I don't subscribe to this Pope. I grew up Catholic, 12 years of Catholic school. I think he acts more like a far left head of state than he does the spiritual leader of a global religious movement. But that all being said, you can't arrest a guy. Differing opinion. Trudeau could not wear Harry S. Truman's socks. Well, let me just put it this way. I think Harry S. Truman's socks are probably a little more masculine. I would have to say that. Jane Pedler, the U.S. is becoming the last bastion for freedom of speech. I want to move there from Australia. You know, there's a really prolific writer. You've probably seen him out there in the media, Nick Adams. And he's an Australian who came to the United States. He's written several books on it. He's an advisor now to the president's re-elect. Nick is a good friend of mine. And I would encourage, I'll bring Nick on one day. I'm going to be having guests on the show. And I'm going to bring Nick on one day in a split screen with me, and he'll answer your questions as well. And you've got to hear Nick's horror story coming to the United States legally, especially when he got not an Australian, and from Australia, not an Australian, but a United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement person or State Department person at the embassy, found out he was conservative and made his life even more difficult. Cost he and his family a lot of money. Oops, sorry, not Independence Day, Confederation Day. My apologies, Canada. Somebody said Happy Independence Day. Sorry. I stand corrected. Greetings from Israel. Well, thank you very much. Wow. We've got people from all over the globe. This is awesome. What do I think about Trudeau sneaking around to the individual states to try and outmaneuver Trump? I saw that, but Trudeau couldn't outmaneuver a Prius driven by a 97-year-old woman. So I'm really not too worried about Trudeau outmaneuvering Trump. I won't worry about that too much. Let's see. We have to keep the U.S. out of the hands of Democrats for at least one full generation. That means at least 20 years. Oh, I would add a 0 to that. Let's keep it out of the hands of Democrats for 200 years. Add another 0. 2,000. Keep adding zeros. We don't ever want the Democrats to have the U.S. It's, what the Democrats want to do is, I always say, today's Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party of 20, 30 years ago. Look, people say to me, well, Ronald Reagan was able to get along with Tip O'Neill and Democrats like Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Was because they were patriotic Democrats who loved their nation. They might have fundamentally disagreed on social programs and other issues, but the Moynihans, the Tip O'Neills loved America. They bled red, white, and blue. Today's Democratic Party doesn't. The Tom Perez's and the Keith Ellisons, Muslims, Somali Muslims were electing in Minnesota, and socialists from New York. They hate this country. Rico Coin Report watching from Paris, France. Awesome. So we have Australia, Israel, France, New Zealand, UK, Canada, the United States. What did I miss? If I missed you, please tell me. Thank you. BVYUP. You're right. I used to think socialism was a good idea until I started to pay taxes and grew up. There's an old saying, if at 20 you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart. And if at 40 you're not a conservative, you don't have a brain. Trudeau fits into his mom's pantyhose better than I guess you mean Harry Truman's socks. I said New Zealand. Greetings from North Korea. Is that you, Kim Jong-un? Yeah. I don't think Trudeau could. I think Trudeau, not a stretch that he might have tried on, at least once, maybe, his mom's pantyhose. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to that effect, but yeah. Any comments? Rico Coin Report asks, any comments on Obama's whereabouts and post-world leader meeting work? Yeah, Obama's out there trying to undermine Trump. Obama's former attorney general, somebody called his wingman, Eric Holder. I don't know if you know this. He's out there every day. He's the lawyer behind this whole gerrymandering thing, this scheme to have Democrats, the states redistricted, their congressional districts redistricted, so that Democrats have more power. That's all Eric Holder. In 20 years, whites will be nearing a minority and facing an ascendant Hispanic Democratic voting bloc. All migration has to be stopped. Well, I know those are the numbers, but I've dug into them. I don't think that's the case either. But again, it's not white, black, Hispanic, Asian. That's nothing to do with it. It's producers and non-producers. Producers tend to be conservative. Non-producers tend not to be. I heard that Hillary Clinton never worked on the official State Department email server, and her official email was almost unused. I don't know. I mean, there are reports to that effect, but I'm sure she sent many, many emails from her official State Department email as well. But it doesn't matter. Excuse me. If she sent one classified email from a non-State Department, non-secure server, that's illegal. Most of these, let's see who this is. G. Fox, and we've got a lot of people watching and commenting. I really want to thank you. Most of these social progressives don't even have children. I've known a lot that changed to conservatives once they have children of their own. Yeah, kids are expensive. You start to realize you got to keep more of your own money. You start to realize you got to keep more of your own money. The enforcer, Simon Ball, says Europe in 50 years will be a Muslim continent. Look at London now. The English are being wiped out. That scares me more than what's happening in the United States. Scares me a lot more. What did Bill Clinton do in 1993 when the World Trade Center was bombed? I got to give Bill Clinton credit for one thing. He gave law enforcement whatever they needed. I was a New York City cop at that time. He gave law enforcement whatever they needed. Sheikh Abdel Rahman, the blind sheikh, we caught him very, very quickly in a matter of weeks. Local law enforcement, FBI, CIA, ATF, every federal agency involved had all the resources, all the money they needed. Credit where due. Bill Clinton, when I worked there, also gave the NYPD $30 million for new equipment. And so I will say this. Disagree with a lot of things Bill Clinton did. The guy was tough on crime. He was a hardcore right-winger on crime. Hardcore right-winger on crime. Evil Bastard says we have to call out the left when they try to straw man the argument and pretend we're talking about legal immigrants. We're not. We're talking about illegals. Agreed. Very, very important distinction. Very, very important distinction. Let's see what else we got here. The DNC plans to infiltrate conservative groups to trigger violence. They've been doing that. And this DNC, and that was from Zero Enoch Zero. This DNC has really been doing this for years. They started doing it under Obama, the far left faction of the DNC. It really was the birth of Antifa and those groups, right? They've been trying to create unrest in conservative organizations for years now. Well, Bill Clinton, people saying there are videos that Bill Clinton knew exactly where Bin Laden was. I know what you're referring to. You got to really watch these videos again, not the ones that are taken on these conspiracy theory websites, put up to YouTube with very selective edit. They could have bombed and killed Bin Laden. There were a lot of reasons at the time they didn't. Could have. But here's the problem. You can't look at it and say, well, had they done that, 9/11 never would have happened. There were a lot of people responsible for 9/11. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, a whole bunch were responsible for it. It wasn't one guy. Those plans were in motion for years and years and years. One guy was taken out. There were plenty to take his place to carry out the attack. Could we have killed him earlier? Sure. But Katrina Shadowcat says, LOL Janice, was that not an epic Supreme Court decision? Taking money from and wind out of the union sales was absolutely epic. Epic. And I think it's the first step to long needed union busting here in the U.S. You know, unions were important entities, turn of the century, terrible working conditions. People needed to be able to have a union, to have a collective group to say, we're not going to work like this in this meat factory getting our arms cut off. Well, now you have OSHA and all kinds of government inspectors, the FDA, they're limitless. And people have cell phone cameras and they can take pictures of bad working conditions. So unions want to exist for collective bargaining, but it's you know, I don't think that they're needed beyond that. Do I think Stephen Harper will meet with Trump? He's meeting with Bolton. Well, here's the thing. It all depends how the meeting with Bolton goes. Meeting with the President of the United States should really be reserved for those who want to work with the United States, who want to try to achieve a goal. And so I would assume that John Bolton and President Trump are going to have a long meeting after that. And when they do, they're going to make a decision on whether or not Trump should meet with Harper. People need to start boycotting extremist actor films and make Hollywood sit up and listen, Mike Sem says. Well, they are. I don't know if you saw the numbers on the Peter Fonda movie, the opening weekend. This movie was marketed by Sony Classics, not some art house. $29,000 at $15 a ticket. It means like 1,500 people saw the movie. So Americans are reacting. As an ex-cop, do you believe the video on the Wiener laptop moved vet cops to tears? No. I know that's a story from that fake website, True Pundit. I have old partners in the computer crimes unit. Don't listen to anything True Pundit publishes. Too many embellishments. No. People were not moved to tears. The story with the Wiener laptop is the NYPD had the laptop on the chat case with the kids. They realized there were classified emails. The NYPD said, okay, we shouldn't be in possession of these. They went to the FBI. The FBI and the NYPD together went to a federal judge, asked the federal judge to order the NYPD to give the laptop to the FBI. Standard operating procedure to preserve the chain of custody. Because the NYPD handing it to the FBI taints the NYPD's investigation. The NYPD having it taints the FBI's investigation. But when a federal judge says, I reviewed everything, and these are the parameters under which we're going to transfer the laptop, then the chain of custody is preserved. It's preserved. There were don't believe that True Pundit story that NYPD thieves were into fights with the FBI. None of that happened. None of that happened. The FBI and NYPD cooperated on that. It became a federal case after the state had the evidence for their case. People are putting up false information for clicks. Any thoughts on Andrew Scheer? Well, not so much. Let's see if there's anything new on all that. And my machine is, of course, freezing. My machine is freezing. There we go. No, not really yet. I like to see politicians evolve. And I'm cautiously watching what's happening in Canada. Because as Canada is one of our, I would argue, our closest ally in the world, I want to see Canada with more effective conservative leadership. But I just... Look, I like Scheer's positions. I love them. Will he have real power? That's my question. I would love to see a Scheer in place of a Trudeau. I would love to see a conservative who is more in sync with the President of the United States. Would love that. Every conservative would. And I can understand why Canadians are frustrated. But I just, I'm optimistic for Canada. I want to get to the point where I'm very optimistic for Canada, but you need to vote. Canadians really need to get out there and Trudeau. What's a Nobel Peace Prize worth when that nominee, the 22-year-old charity chairman in New York, was arrested for pedophilia? Well, I agree. I totally agree, but that's today's left. That is today's left. Unfortunately, they tend to... Somebody said Scheer is a globalist shill like Trudeau. Yeah, but he's better than what you got. He's better than what you got. You know, I don't... I wish you guys could have a true conservative, but I just don't know if your political class up there in Canada has cultivated enough. That's my concern. So I'm ready to take anybody better than Trudeau on my northern border. Let's see. Got a lot coming in right now. Scheer is a globalist like Trudeau. What do I think about the Australian? I'm still waiting for Trudeau groping case. I don't know anything about that. Let's go back. There was one I liked here. That's like Bruce Jenner winning an ESPY after murdering somebody when the real winner was Lauryn Hill. Why would Lauryn Hill win an ESPY? Play sports? Now I'm very, very confused. But going back to that 22-year-old arrested for pedophilia, it seems like deviant behavior is very permissive within leftist ideology, doesn't it? It sure seems that way. It seems like the left is more interested in, I don't know, trying to show how diverse and open-minded they can be above being, I don't know, on top of public safety, caring about children and the safety of children. But we see it. There was another story where a bar is being sued because of transgender. Couldn't go into the bathroom, the ladies' room. They were asked for ID and asked to leave. There's a photo of this guy. He looks like a guy with earrings and lipstick. I don't know. I have a 10-year-old niece, 10 now. I don't want that guy in the ladies' room with her and my sister-in-law. Or if my niece goes in alone, I don't want that grown man in there. And I've got to go in there. No, I don't want that. Because there are plenty of times when a dad is with his daughter and she's 10, 11 years old and she needs to go in the ladies' room and she wants to go alone. You don't want a grown man walking in there with your little girl. A grown man in lipstick. I'm sorry. Flame me, call me too traditional. No, I don't buy into it. Ezra brought up the case of Trudeau groping a young female journalist. I did not see that. I did not see that case. All right, great. I'm going to dig into it today. I typically, the way we break things down here at The Rebel is being their U.S. correspondent. Ezra has Canada well in hand. He's a genius with regards to Canadian politics. I tend to stick to the U.S. I want to bring you the deep analysis from the U.S., so I did not see that. I will check that out today. But as the U.S. correspondent, I tend to stick to what's going on down here. And believe me, we've got our hands full with Rosenstein and Mueller and Wray and the DOJ and Congress's war and everything. So I will definitely check that out after the show. Thank you very much for bringing. I'll check out Ezra's report on that as well. D-Day is an Ohio guy. I love that state. I love that state. I love the Midwest in general. What does the future look like for Anthony Weiner? Pretty miserable in federal prison for a couple of years as a convicted sex offender. I don't think he recovers when he comes out. I think his political and any power he had politically is done. My bigger concern is why hasn't Huma Abedin also been? That's my bigger concern. Why did Hillary's entire team get a pass? Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Dolly Daydream says it's all done to normalize pedophilia. I think it's just done to normalize deviant behavior in general. Deviant behavior in general. So J-Day, you're 33 and this whole left and right talk has had you confused for years. Why? That's a really, really interesting point. Why? Why did it have you confused? I'd love to ping me here and tell me why, because that is a great, great point. And somebody said E-Sharp said in Portland, Oregon, Proud Boys kicked some Antifa butt. Yeah, they did. What was really disturbing is that if you notice what happened there, the Proud Boys and other conservative groups had permits to march. Antifa didn't. Antifa attacked them, and the Portland police stood down until Antifa started getting their asses kicked. Very sad day for law enforcement, sad day for America. Rico Coin keeps asking me what I think about Australian refugee Brandon O'Connell. I don't know this story. I got to dig into it. Sorry. I got to dig into it. The enforcer, Simon Bowles, can the UK borrow Trump and have him change in charge for a couple of years? I wish you guys would. I wish you guys would. Let's see. Moondoggle, genderless demons reading propaganda to children. That's the future left wants, and I'm not even half joking. Yeah, they did. They really, really did do that. They tried to, like I said, normalize the deviant, and they're trying to do it to little kids, 6, 7 years, teach them about deviant sex, things of that nature. It's pretty tragic, pretty terrible stuff. Let's see. J-Day, I wish all cops were like Andy Griffith. No. I was on patrol and then in a gun and robbery unit in the South Bronx in the mid to late 90s, early to late 90s. Andy Griffith wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. Wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. Do I think Jordan Peterson should be hired by the Trump administration? Is it legal or possible? Sure. With the right filings, it's legal. He's not running for president. Do I think he should be hired by the administration? No. I think Jordan Peterson should stay right where he is. He does great work right where he is. And if you work inside the White House, if you work for the administration, you're very limited on what you can say. And I think Jordan Peterson's value comes from his ability to speak his mind. And so, no, I wouldn't want to see a great mind who's really making an impact like that limited by a White House job. Wouldn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. Let's see what else we got here. Day said Andy Griffith, not Barney Fife. Okay? Neither one of them would have lasted on the street up there, especially with the bullets in Barney's pocket. Will Trump have DOJ or FBI go after Soros? For what? Jonathan Bryant asked me that. Doesn't look like Soros broke any laws. Donating to radical causes is legal. So I don't like weaponizing law enforcement against political ideology. That's what we fight. Cody the Libertarian, who is Q? Nobody. Stop. That's a false, phony conspiracy theory. This whole QAnon thing is simply ludicrous. Myself and other people that actually worked on the inside of this world laugh at it. We have a good laugh at it. And stop believing it. There is no 5D, 10D, 978D chess with Mueller and Rosenstein and Sessions and Trump meeting in the White House. It doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. None of that exists. Things are what they are. Sessions, the terribly weak attorney general. Rosenstein runs DOJ. There's a lot of hostility to Trump. The deck is stacked. The game is rigged. Trump needs to fire people and appoint a second special counsel. Forget that whole QAnon thing. It's ludicrous. What do I think about the V for Vendetta guy and all the Illuminati stuff? I mean, Guy Fawkes? Now, I don't believe in conspiracy theory. It's all not in the Illuminati. That's all nuts. I mean, this stuff, there's some symbols if you read the Da Vinci Code, but well, Dolly, it's nice that you've learned everything from Q, but you're learning bad information. You're not getting accurate information. I could sit here and tell you that I have a super secret government agent and put a black sheet over my friend and tell you that's the guy, and I can't show his face and spew you conspiracy theories. And if you believe them, you do that at your peril. At your peril. Just because somebody claims to be something doesn't mean they're that thing. And I'm telling you, this whole QAnon phenomenon is a conspiracy theory lunacy thing. No, there's nobody inside the government. No. Yeah. Don't believe conspiracy. Well, Dolly, you're free to believe what you want. I'm trying to tell you, as a guy who comes on air every day, who has deep contacts in D.C., they laugh. The people actually in the know laugh at this QAnon thing. They laugh at it. They think it's tragic that so many people are following it and listening to it, getting bad information. Look, the key is to bring you good information. And these conspiracy theorists that go with the QAnon stuff and also the crazy stuff, they're telling you what you want to hear to give you hope, so you hang on their every word. They're not giving you good information. You wouldn't want your doctor, if you were dying of congestive heart failure and you couldn't breathe, you wouldn't want your doctor to come in and say, well, it's a mild case of bronchitis. Don't worry about it. Take these, go home. When you need open heart surgery, right? I mean, that's not what you'd want your doctor to do. And that's what these conspiracy theorists do. They tell you what you want to hear, so you keep clicking and hang on their every word. And I'm telling you guys, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Lauren Southern, what do I think of Trump's current relationship with Trudeau? Look, I think Trump knows he's got Trudeau beat. He also knows Canada is a very important ally. We share NORAD. We have a lot of crossover business. A lot of Canadians own property here in the U.S. A lot of Americans vacation in Canada. We share a multi-thousand-mile border. So I think Trump knows they got to jab each other a little bit, but they need to eventually get along, whether it's Cuno or Trudeau or anybody else. What about Q's picks of the inside of Air Force One? So what? So what? Do you know how many reporters have been on Air Force One over the years? How many guests have been on Air Force One over the years? I have photos of the inside of Air Force One. Many, many people do. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. The Pragmatist. My dad is a 35-plus year naval intelligence officer. He says QAnon is nonsense. He's right. Dolly, I don't listen to Q. You're asking me things he says. I don't even pay attention to that nonsense. Sorry. The Pragmatist dad is right. Hey, ROC says, I love John Cardillo. Thank you. I love you guys as well. Somebody asked what happened to Gavin. Nothing. Gavin is doing great. Gavin's a good buddy of mine. He's over at Conservative Review right now, and he's still a great friend of the Rebel. We plan on, we do some crossover stuff, and he's a buddy. So he's over there. He's doing some great work, and there you go. How do I say this? MDMNMDLIR. John, I heard you talk about the follies of the Broward Sheriff and School Board in the wake of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Have you heard any more about something being done about them? Yeah, so what's happening now, great question, is the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is looking into Sheriff Scott Israel. They're going to submit a report to the governor. There's also a commission. It's 7 to 10 other sheriffs who are investigating Israel. What I'm being told out of Tallahassee by members of our state Senate is that when they submit that report to the governor, that report's going to find a lot of wrongdoing on the part of Scott Israel, the sheriff of Broward County. At that point, the procedure in Florida is the governor will suspend him, and the state Senate will vote to impeach him. And it looks like Scott Israel will be removed from office. At least that's what I'm being told right now. But we're waiting for that Florida Department of Law Enforcement report. Should be out any day. It was expected in early to mid-July. So it can come literally at any day. Do I believe, from John 919, the intake of heavy metals into the human body is linked to Alzheimer's? I am not a doctor. I have no idea. Politically Incorrect says, what effect do I think tariffs will have? I think they're going to have an amazing effect. Because Donald Trump is using tariffs as leverage for foreign policy, global security policy, and economic policy. And I think at the end of the day, we win. We win. Let's see. I went into QAnon research team to do my own research and saw for myself that it's all a con job. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just not. It's so silly to anybody that's ever worked on the inside. Can I come and do a speech at the Free Tommy demo on Saturday, the 14th of July? It's in the UK. Unfortunately, I cannot get to the UK on Saturday, the 14th. I would love to help Tommy out. He's a good guy. But I'm pretty swamped here with live shows. And so wouldn't have the time to get over there and do that. How do we as rebels use this information safely to serve our cause without being victims of the left harassment? From Joshua Sperling. Well, Joshua, what information do you mean? I think get out there on social media, post it, tweet it, but make sure that it's not coming from anonymous sources. Make sure it's not coming from what appears to be conspiracy theory. People, pushing conspiracy. Truth Detector. Will Tommy Robinson be set free? I sure hope so. There's a lot of backlash. I certainly hope so. He should be. He never should have been imprisoned in the first place. Terrible. For Iron Wolverine, Donald Trump has the potential to be one of the greatest presidents ever. I agree. I think Trump, love him or hate him, I've always been a big supporter, is doing more, has done more in, what are we in, 18 months in office? Has done more than 17, 18 months than many other presidents combined in terms of proactivity. Trump doesn't love Q. Golly. Let's see. Yeah, look, a lot on Tommy Robinson. I wish, I think it's a travesty. And I think that is sheer political persecution. I truly, truly do. I think if Tommy Robinson were going after Christians, and I think if Tommy Robinson were doing many other things, I don't think Tommy Robinson would be in jail. When Tommy Robinson went after Jews, if he went after Christians, if he went after whites, Tommy Robinson would be a free man being celebrated. John, how do I think tariffs will affect Canada? I love Canada, but Trudeau's an idiot. I think that the tariffs won't. I think the tariffs are going to get Canada to back off. Let's face it. Look at our two collective GDPs. Canada needs the U.S. as a trading partner and a national defense partner a lot more than the U.S. needs Canada. Trudeau is being obstinate, but he's going to start facing a lot of political pressure from your MPs very, very soon, I believe. John 919 asked me, do I think we should run military drills along the border to show a strong presence, slow down the cartel human trafficking? Absolutely. I also think we need to do it to show the Mexican military that we're no longer going to deal with their corrupt incursions on the U.S. territory to help the cartels smuggle drugs. So yes, I do. I absolutely do. The obelisk behind John Cardillo tells some people that I'm a paid shill. The obelisk. Yeah, well, that's like just a kind of the Washington Monument. You're reading into this a little too much. I just thought, where is it? Over there. I just thought it was kind of cool. No, it is not an Illuminati symbol. MD said, I hope Scott and the legislature have the guts to move on that info. Oh, they will. I've been told by people very close to the governor and the state legislature They want Scott Israel gone. Even Democrats want Scott Israel gone. Kryptonite. The report is going to be damning. I truly believe he'll be removed from office. He should resign first, because firing him really damages his ability to get a job down the road. Satan worshippers have obelisks close by. I can assure you I am not a Satan worshiper. It's just a little decorative piece of stone. Don't read too much into it. Yeah, the anonymous videos, people don't watch them. God bless. Do I think Trump could do something about Trudeau? No. Hey, Rock, no. I wouldn't want him to. Trudeau is a duly elected leader of a nation, and Trump is the duly elected leader of his nation, and Canada's a friend, and you, the Canadian people, have to do something about it. It's not up to Trump. We need to eliminate the gangs that have plagued the streets for years. Never going to happen. You're never going to eradicate crime. Never. It's there's no panacea. There's no zero tolerance. Crime always has been, always was, and always will be. Never going to eradicate it. Not going to happen. Wish we could, but we can't. And that's a sad, sad thing, but unfortunately, the way things are, never going to eradicate crime. It's always been, it always will. That's the fact. The fact, Mike Stan said, the fact that I have a globe proves I'm a globalist. Oh, you got me. Got me. But I like my globe. I don't want to get rid of it. My globe is cool. My globe is great. The fact that I have a globe and an obelisk. Well, I am apparently a globalist and Illuminati. Wow. I had no idea there was so much symbolism going on behind me. If Trump really wants to piss off Trudeau, he should place an extremely high tariff on maple syrup. Oh, geez. I love maple syrup, especially Canadian maple syrup. But if he does that, well, we're just going to have to go to Vermont for our maple syrup. So it could actually hurt Canada. You make a good point. I will tell you guys that. I love those maple syrup cookies that I get in Canada. You don't really find them here in the U.S. unless you go to a specialty store. So good. So good. My globe is the wrong shape. It's too round. Damn it. That too. Okay, and now I have an American flag. I'm a fascist. So let's get this straight. I've got an American flag. I'm a fascist. I've got a globe. I'm a globalist. I've got an obelisk. I'm a Satan-worshipping Illuminati. I don't even know. Thanks. This is awesome. The MSN is working hand in hand with the left media in Canada. Thank God for the rebel. Yeah, well, look, we love doing these shows because we're not the mainstream media. J-Bay says he hasn't seen a globe since the early. Well, now you see one again. Right there. Now you see one again. C-Story, defund the CBC. Look, you're never going to defund state-run media. And apparently, Katrina, people think I'm a Satanist because I have an obelisk. I'm not. I can assure you I'm not. 12 years of Catholic school, although my handwriting would never let you know that. Hey, guys. This has been absolutely awesome. It's been a lot of fun. I'll be back here with you tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. sharp. Tune in. We're going to be talking about whatever was really hot and trending tonight. Kenema Cruz says, I have a leather chair. I'm an animal hater. My God, you guys have got me nailed. Tune in tomorrow. Check out some more symbolism behind me. Tell me what you think. And again, thanks so much for watching, guys. Oh, Rico Coin Report paid. I got to answer his last question. Trump's Space Force will leave the atmosphere past the Van Allen belt. Do I know about Operation Talpoint? Do I support Bitcoin or fiat? A lot of questions in there. Not sure about the Space Force. I don't know about that operation. No, I do not buy Bitcoin. I don't trust where it's going. But that's just me. If it works for you, go for it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.